Welcome to Flak.
Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah. Tomorrow.
Happy tomorrow, right? Happy Hanukkah. That means tonight. It starts tonight, I guess.
Yeah. Starts
Kim.
tonight at sunset, right?
All right,
Yeah.
Kim's on board, I think. I bet.
Yeah, we got Kim. We can all start now. Kim's in.
Oh, Kim Hull, is that the? She just loves Austin Powers, baby. Yeah.
I can't really tell who it is. It just says there's one person, but I'd be willing to bet you it's Kim.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do an hour and a half today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said?
No,
Okay.
no. We're
No,
doing
we
an
can't.
hour
Look,
today.
I got a gig later. As
Yeah,
awesome.
Richard's got
Well,
a
Okay.
thing.
So
I
we're-
forgot.
I tell you what, Kim, I'll play the videos if we don't end up playing them during, because Richard is a fund of information, so we may not get to the videos. If we don't get to the videos, watch in the Fan Flight group, and I'll post them there.
There you go. Well, Kim is a very, very loyal viewer. So we have been making semi-jokes for the last couple of weeks about doing Halpernapalooza.
Halpernapalooza. Did you really?
Yeah.
Halpernapalooza. Wow.
We promised her, because she's so loyal to the show, that we would get you back on. So
Halpernapalooza. I like that.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, it's the anniversary of Christmas Carol.
We just watched it last night.
Yeah.
On the big
Cool.
TV with my niece had never seen it. And of course, if you're really, really big fans of Dark Shadows, my niece Angelique, who was not named after Angelique on the show, the character Gene Tierney played, and was the star, one of the stars of Baby Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
She is now married and has her own little boy who's 11, Luca, and maybe there'll be a second generation of Baby Dark Shadows.
There already is. I mean, the fans are. I hear. In fact, my friend Matt Hall, who was the baby of Dr. Hoffman.
Yeah, Matthew, I've met him. Sure.
Oh yeah, he's an old friend of mine, and.
I have to ask Melody a question. Melody,
What?
do you still have the music box?
Oh God, no.
Melody had one of the Angelique's music boxes that they
Josette.
used to. Josette? Okay. Josette's, all right. But she had one of the Josette's music boxes that they used to sell.
Yep.
On the commercials on Dark Shadows.
Oh my God, that's great. Wow.
They used to, and of course you get it, and it's this little plastic thing with a, and in
How about
my
the
day,
Jonathan Frid stuffed animal?
The
I
what?
have seen pictures. Now I don't know if this is somebody that's making it, but there's a Jonathan Frid plushie that I've seen on eBay.
Yeah,
Well,
it exists. That's the kind of thing Jonathan used to just go.
Hey, I had that game, the Barnabas Collins game with there's like Hangman. I had that.
Oh, Melody had one.
Yeah.
And a car, a car, and he's in this little figure in a coffin. I had that too.
Yep.
And the books, the little books,
the Marilyn Ross books, yeah.
But now I have in a little box, it says Dark Shadows, is the ring, the Barnabas.
Oh, yes.
And if you remember what he said a few times, he said, people went out, they copied the ring and they made it out of sterling silver and onyx. We bought that ring from Woolworths of $2. And they're making these elaborate things like this ring was this big.
Yeah. But they bought everything from Woolworths or, one of the other big East Coast stores at the time.
You're from the Midwest. I'm from the East Coast, and I used to love Woolworths.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yes.
We had Woolworths
Yeah,
in
we had Woolworths
California
here.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great with the soda fountain. Did you sit at
Oh,
and they had the balloons with
Richard,
the long balloons on a stick all lined up on top. And if you get an ice cream, so whatever, banana split, you pop one of the balloons and it said, "Oh, you get it for free,"
yeah.
I
Yeah, they had
remember
the freebie thing. Yeah.
this was back in the olden days when we were oh young.
Yeah, we're older than you, Richard.
I don't
Well,
know, man. I don't know. I'm pretty old.
You
Ri-
okay, you were born in 62, right?
How do you know that? Yeah.
I remember it from last
I
time.
was 7 years old when you were born.
When Dark Shadows came on?
No, when you were born.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're a little older than me. All right. But we're all in the same thing.
Yeah.
Well,
the
you know,
same
used to be vampires were scary, horrible things that they only showed late at night. Now they're children's shows.
Yeah, there's cartoons about Vampirina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, Vampirina or something like that.
They
And
make it
Hotel-
Vampirina. That these are benevolent little creatures now. I think Josh
Hotel
started it.
Transylvania.
Yep.
They don't discuss how they feed on those cartoons.
yeah, well, but then they've got the new Interview with the Vampire show on AMC.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen it. It's very good. And I stopped playing. I don't know if they're on a hiatus or, I mean, it stopped about 8 episodes in and it's not done. They're basically going through the book.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Because it's not like, it's like the old movie and you see some of this, but they're moving through the book. And
I just couldn't watch that old movie because watching Kirsten Dunst, who was like 12 years old when that movie was made, talking about having sex, just disturbed me. I couldn't.
Well, I
couldn't
don't think
watch
she
that.
was really 12. I think I've met her, and I think she's one of these people that looks
She's
really
little, yeah.
young. And
Well, she was supposed to be that age
well,
in the movie.
yeah, even,
so.
that's true. If she's supposed to be 12, having sex. Yeah, this one is I think she's 18 or 17.
Yeah.
And like years later, she's still 17 or something. But the interesting thing about both those, the movie from 92, whatever, and the TV show is Gary Archer made the fangs for both.
Uh-huh.
He made, and Gary Archer is the #1 dental prosthetic maker in the business. He makes for movies, television. Plus, he's a dental technician. He does regular like partials and stuff. And he made all the teeth for Austin Powers, all 3 films. He made my teeth for Austin.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so he's a good friend, and he's just now started speaking and giving like lectures. He never did that. And we started doing, I would say, hey, all you special effects people, you better beg, borrow, and steal to listen to this guy because he doesn't do this.
Yeah.
So he started doing that, and he's partnered with a company called Bite Makers, which is out of England,
Right.
Dominic. And the thing that they have now is you can get an impression mobile. I mean, you don't have to be in an office. And with the computer 3D, you can make the teeth and send them off. You make it remotely. But the best, I think the best way, I don't know, is if you just go, he's close to me, go in and just get, but yeah, that's the new technology now. You can be across the world. The actor is in Italy. All right,
Yeah.
well, let him go to a computer, and then somebody does it and you send it back. There you go.
Yeah, they had actually Catherine when she did her vampire gig.
This is a good one.
Yeah, you know what it is.
But say it.
They glued press-on nails on her teeth. And those
Really?
were her fangs.
It worked.
Yeah. you know. And they when they did it, Grayson walked up to her and was winking. She says, "Honey, did you know you have press-on nails on your teeth?" And the all the good dark shadow stories culminate with Grayson making her remark. But yeah, that shows you how far we've come in production. That
Oh yeah, well, look, Dan Curtis apparently didn't like to spend a lot of money, but then you know what? The Barnabas teeth, the
yeah,
Angelique teeth, the guys that were real vampire, and Tom, or was it Tom or oh, Jennings? Which of the Jennings was a vampire?
that would be Tom Jennings.
Yeah, okay, I'm sure he had teeth and that kind of stuff, and the
Yeah,
dresses and the hair and all that. So they spent money on something, but something like, yeah,
Well,
we're
you
gonna
know,
use
those
stick-on nails for you. We don't need them.
they didn't
yeah,
pay the special effects people very much. I know a lot of those people made. I happen to know Michael Westmore and Tom Savini.
Oh wow,
And
those were
Tom Savini, thank you very much. He talked my daughter out of going into the studio makeup business because he told her, he says, if you have to do it, fine, I'll help you. He says, but I'm one of the best paid people in Hollywood and I barely am able to eat.
wow.
So that she said, okay, forget
Yeah,
it.
good advice.
she's
That,
an RN now, so
good. That's how you make the money. Listen,
yeah,
that's the field to be in because with this pandemic, those are the heroes,
yeah, yeah.
and the grocery people, and the drive-through fast food people. Those people became frontline workers.
You know they did,
And the
absolutely.
supermarket people, the gas station people, these are like, oh, how can you pay? No, I listen, I am always giving extra attention to anybody in the service industry when I travel, the housekeeping. Hello, how are you? And they like, oh, hello, because people are like, oh, I want my. No, I don't do that. I'm kind of, and like I said, during this pandemic, those people were elevated, and of course, doctors and nurses were always like
Always,
saints,
yeah,
you know, but especially during that time, they were like soldiers and
yeah,
did it. So he's, if he's doing an RN or she's doing RN, God bless her.
yeah.
Now,
She's
I have a question for Richard. Now,
Please.
keep in mind that I'm not familiar with what you do and everything except at the videos. But how did you get into? How did you discover that you looked like Michael Myers dressed like Austin Powers?
Well, that's an interesting question. I was an impressionist. I'm still an impressionist, and I started working with Rick Dees in 1983, and because he would have people calling in like celebrities, and one of them was his wife Julie, and then there was a guy, Greg Berg, who did John Revolting. Hey Rick, this is John Revolting. I just wanted to call and say you hit me, So I said, oh, I can do that. I can do that. So I called him up as Dustin Hoffman as Tootsie, which was very big at that time. That was like
oh yeah,
1982. That was a big. So he kept me on the show after. Then I turned into Norman Bates because that Psycho 2 came out. Then I was Larry King, Pee Wee Herman, Sean Penn, which nobody really knows what he sounds like, and just kind of very quiet. So we did our own interpretation. That was the most popular one, was Sean Penn and Sean Connery as well. Yes, I'm sitting here listening to the show. It's Christmas. I want to shit on Santa's lap. Melody, did you ever shit on Santa's lap?
yeah. As a matter of fact, yeah.
So we did that kind of stuff. But Austin Powers was in 1997. They had a Kiss FM, that's the radio station Rick
I
worked for
remember.
in LA, a screening, a preview screening of this Austin Powers movie, and I was never a big fan of Mike. I mean, I was not familiar with all of his stuff, and Wayne's World. I didn't have any knowledge or whatever. So we see this movie, and a friend who's with me, I said, that would make a really, really good Halloween costume, I think. And my friend said, Richard, this movie's going to be dead and gone by Halloween. And that's what happened. Actually, the first run, it tanked.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because at that time, in 1997, your number one movie demographic who you want to appeal to was 17-year-old male.
Yeah.
And those kids, they didn't get the James Bond and the Avengers and the Monkeys and Blofeld and all these jokes that were the older people got the jokes. The kids were just into it because of the slapstick of it and he's dirty, and but it was the water cooler crowd, the white collar, they say, hey, you got to see this movie. It's only going to play another week, but you got to see it. It's just like Get Smart and this. And by the time Halloween came around, it became this cult classic. And the video came out, people were going, yeah, baby, yeah, oh, behave, yeah, you, and this kind of thing. So I did it Halloween of 97. It looked okay because at the time, I had no money to spend. I got this wig and I got these glasses, and people said, oh, and I had a friend that worked in a costume place. He gave me this velvet suit, which was so old, it eventually shredded. I mean, but at least this guy was so nice. He gave me this, and he made a detachable, like a jabot, which I can't fit into anymore. I still have, but I didn't always look as good as I did. The presentation improved the more gigs I got. Because you make money on it, you can spend money to improve it. If you're not making any money on it, you don't, so that's how it happened. And then eventually I got stuff custom made, you get the hair is custom made. I got the right glasses. I had the chain. Good luck finding that chain. That's the holy grail. Good luck. And I had custom suits made. The shirt was done. Well, the shirt was actually done by Ardo at Venice Custom Shirts, who did them for the movie, but they're not like the movie. The movie had these big billowy sleeves and had 3 rolls of ruffles for the jabot. All I needed was the cuffs and the jabot. So he said, yeah, get yourself a very high quality cotton white shirt, not blend, cotton. So I went to Macy's, Calvin Klein, did this lovely. He took off the collar and the cuff and made that. So I have all the shirts I have are actually regular white shirts, but you've got this, and there's only 2 rolls of ruffles because no one sees what's underneath. And even if I had the jacket off, it still looks, nobody's going to say, oh my God, it's wrong. You did it wrong. It's supposed to be 3. No, it's like, minutia in the.
There are crazy people out there. Yeah. There are crazy people out there that will pick.
Hey, it's like
minutia out of something.
No one's gonna know, and one person. Like
that's the wrong button on that jacket.
That's the one. You did it all wrong. And then in like Camelot, one time they did a production of Camelot, and that's a King Arthur, and there's a sheepdog named Horrid. That's very much part of the show. It's like in Annie, it's the same, and Toto, it's like the same. Well, they did this production. It was a German Shepherd. And I said, oh my God, somebody in the back row is going to go, it's not supposed to be a German Shepherd. They're going to walk it. That's what I mean, minutia like that. But, and my cuffs in the movie, they go up to here. But that is not conducive to a live appearance.
No.
So I made them here. Actually, no, I think they go here, and then I made them about here because I had to drive. I had to use my hands. So we kind of futzed with it a little bit. No one's gonna know. No one says about the presentation. And the suit is not royal blue. That suit is teal.
Ah.
And I got to wear one of the original suits for an industrial video way back in the day. And I saw it. I said, oh my God, it's not blue. And I put it on, and they were doing green screen. And I come downstairs, and they go, oh, and it fit, by the way. I mean, it
Yeah,
fit.
you can't wear
Sweet
teal
little
against a green screen.
I mean, well, so we go downstairs, and the guy says, oh, you can't wear that. It's green. It's green. I said, baby, turn your camera on. They turn it on. Boom! Royal blue. So Dina Appel, who designed that, knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah.
And then I decided I don't want to make the suit that color in case people are, oh, it's not royal blue. So I had them made in like a royal blue. Now, recently, I had them in the correct color. And no one has said anything about, and then they photographed royal blue. And yeah, so that's, even that is kind of, I got beetle boots. I got two pairs, I got the low ones like this, and then the higher one from Beatwear 60s UK in Liverpool. They do all the Beatles tributes. Every Beatle tribute you see. Oh, you got your boots. You got your boots from Mark at Beatwear Liverpool. Yeah, we swear we got our boots, and we all having the same boots, and so yeah. But in answer to your question, that's how I mean, I didn't know in the beginning. I just did what was at my disposal. And then years later, as it progressed, I did it. But people say, how did you know you look like Mike Myers? I said, I don't look anything like Mike Myers. This is, in fact, I did a gig. Peter Nguyen of Herman's Hermits this was in Las Vegas at the Venetian or whatever. And they brought me in for this. And his band was rehearsing the afternoon when I was doing my sound check with them. And even though they weren't playing for me, but I showed them pictures, and they're like, oh my God, well. So later on in the day, I'm walking down, the corridor at the Venetian. It's like an indoor mall.
Right.
And at Grand Lux Cafe, there's Peter Nguyen sitting at the head of a table. They're out and all the guys, and they said, oh, Peter, that's Austin Powers. So I go, hello. He goes, you don't look a thing like Austin Powers. So I said, you wait till tonight, love. And then when I showed up at night, he goes, oh my God, you look exactly like Austin Powers.
All right, now I have another question.
Please.
Can you do the voice of Shrek?
Have
you ever tried it?
I never saw it, but I think it's like it's like, oh, look at the donkey. It's funny. That's it. Bastard.
Well, I figured since you can imitate him doing Austin Powers, maybe you can imitate him doing Shrek. There's another gig for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, more money spent.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's gonna be so easy to do. And
yeah, that's gonna be.
I don't have any problem with that. You see.
Hey, look, that's glad you brought that up. Because Dr. Evil, who I've done as well, only for industrial videos, that is a harder presentation to do than Austin. And all the Dr. Evils are either bald or they're very close cut. Because if you put a bald cap on with regularity, skin is going to come off like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, And so that's really hard to do unless you bald and do the right things on it. But what was I forgot what I was saying. You wanted to ask me a question, and what was the question?
No, I think that was the question, actually.
Yeah. It was about the Shrek.
Oh yeah, sure. But I can do all the Austin Powers characters. I can do Goldmember.
Anybody that can do impressions impresses the hell out of me. I was a big fan of this impressionist back during the 70s named David Fry.
I'm not familiar with him.
Oh, he was great. His big thing was Nixon. He did a perfect Richard Nixon. And he did a record album where it was WNIX. it was a radio station, and he did Lyndon Johnson and
Wow.
all the, a lot of those guys, they could do one person really good, and then when that person gets out of office or fades away, their career kind of goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I said to my friend John DiDomenico, who does tons of. He does he is another Austin. He's my Dr. Evil. In fact, I use him. He's in Las Vegas, but he is the number one man whose name we will not mention. Orange,
Yeah.
we won't say the name. We won't dignify that creature with it. He does them. And I'll tell you, that is the only good thing about that individual is the fact that this guy is making all this money doing him. And he does him really well. But he does these other people too. But you're right. And I said to him, I said, listen, if this guy loses, you're going to be, but no, he's still hanging in there, and going nuts with things. And I said, hey, lucky you, he's the, but there was a guy that did Clinton, who opposite political beliefs, which is interesting. And he was on the Tonight Show all the time.
Well, you've got to have a president that has some distinctive thing. Like, I don't think anybody will ever, because he doesn't do anything distinctive enough to where you could imitate him.
The glasses.
He's got a very distinctive voice. He does. And there are people that do him, but it really doesn't look like him, and they can't do the voice. I've never heard a really good Biden. Great Barack Obama. I've seen really good. And George Bush. I've seen George, not the younger one. That there was a guy who was doing him. A couple of guys.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who did him. What was his name? Steve. He did it with prosthetics. And he looked and sounded exactly like, I forgot this guy's name. He passed away.
Oh.
And when he did that gig, he had to travel with a makeup team because you can't just, I'll use it again. No, prosthetic gone. You're going to make him over and over. He was at least $25,000 to book him because he had to bring in all these people. He worked all the time, and he did a bit with Bush. But 2 podiums, and they did it. That's about as high as you can go in this.
Oh, yeah.
When you're with the person that you're doing, and they're validating you enough to have you with them on the podium. And I forgot this guy's name. Anyway, if you look up Bush,
the best impersonator.
Yeah,
the best Bush impersonator I ever saw was on the pilot episode of NCIS.
Maybe it was this guy.
And they were on Air Force One. Yeah. And Bush comes in, and it looked just like him. For a while, I was like, did they hire him to do that episode?
Maybe, and if he looked that much, it must have been this guy.
It looked just like him. And he had the voice and everything. It was good.
But you see, here's a guy, looks nothing like him, puts on the stuff and looks just like him. Can walk down the street without people going, it's, as opposed to some of these other ones. They look like the person. You can't take it off.
When I was young, I used to have people tell me I looked like Elton John all the time. And I look nothing like Elton John now.
They think I'm Elton John.
Wait,
must be Elton John. That's wonderful. Like,
well, I had the receding hairline like that he had before he got his hair transplant, and just first.
That's funny. Go ahead.
My husband at one time looked a great deal like Gerard Depardieu.
Oh my! There you go.
I mean, a lot like him, and he would be mistaken for him.
Wow.
And we were at the taping of a show that one of my Dark Shadows companions co-authors was on. and we flipped a coin. She lost, so she had to do the show. We had one of the people on the show, it was To Tell the Truth. One of the people on the show was the lady who was the inspiration for Not Without My Daughter.
Wow.
And she, the one who played this, Sally Field played her in the film.
Right.
And she turned around with her mom, who was or mother-in-law, who was there. And they looked at him and said, "You're on that Green Card movie, aren't you?" And my husband said, "No, I'm not him." And they looked at me and says, "Oh, your nose is much better."
There
Now,
you go. I have to put a thing on his nose. He could do him.
Exactly. I have to intercede here because Jessica Wolf is your fan. She's the one we were talking about.
Sorry,
and
Kim.
I kept saying Kim Hall. Sorry, Kim. Jessica's wants to know, let's see. She says she has Austin Powers toys. She made an Austin Powers cross stitch. And says, I hope you and Mike Myers make another Austin Powers movie.
Me and Mike Myers. Wow.
You and Mike Myers.
I hope he does too. I mean, it's funny because I've spoken to Jay Roach about it. He brought it up. I didn't even bring it up. He brought it up. And I said, I'm glad you brought it up. And I was in full, we met before and we've been at the same thing. And I said, I'm glad you brought it up because, people ask me all the time, when are they going to make another roast? I said, well, it depends on who you talk to and on what day. And he said the same thing about, here's a chat. I got Austin Powers toys. All right.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, Mike wants to do it too. Jerry Rose, yeah, I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. Boom. Mike Myers. I would absolutely love to do it. I think we should do it. I just, I'd love to do it. Boom. So, yeah, I would love them to do it. But whether they do or not, we don't know. And if he did do it this time, I would, because we were about the same size and stuff. I would try to see if I could be the double. He uses a guy who looks nothing like it, but is able to play off of him because he does all the characters, and which I can do. So I don't know if he still uses that guy or not. But if he did, I would throw my hat in the ring for that and see what they'd say. But people are saying, "Oh, you should do it yourself." I said, "Come on, they're not going to buy anyone else doing it unless you did a TV show."
Yeah, that's true.
Austin Powers, and it's always 1967. The whole MASH, the Korean War went on for 10 years. But every show, it's always 1967.
Hey, pitch it to Netflix.
Pitch it. If I pitch anymore, I don't even want to go. But if they had it in 1967, and the whole show revolves around him trying to catch Dr. Evil, and you never see Dr. Evil, maybe you see an arm. And you see, but at the season finale, you see him and it's Mike Myers.
Oh, there you go.
And then we have a fight, and it's actually me, and it's not trick photography. It's me. I'll get you, Dr. Evil, got you now. Get out, and it's, "Ow, you broke my face,"
Can I ask a legal question?
That would be great, but they tried to do an animated thing about it, and that fell through. Oh, I have a low battery. Hold on, I gotta plug myself in. Give me 1 moment. That got low battery.
Melody, I have a legal question to ask him.
Okie dokie.
If he were to do a television show imitating Michael Myers as Austin Powers, could Michael Myers sue him?
Oh, he'd have to have permission. Yeah.
But I'm sure Michael Myers doesn't own the character of Austin Powers.
And New Line owns. I mean, it's. Hold on a second. Good Lord. Hold on, but he'd have to sign off on. He has a lot of power with that character. He really does, because he's told people. you can't do this, you can't. But the studio owns it as well. It's now Warner Brothers, which was the parent company of New Line.
Yeah, I didn't think New Line was even in business anymore. Didn't they start off?
Got absorbed by Jesus Christ. They got absorbed by Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers was their parent company.
Didn't they start one of the horror movie franchises, New Line?
Yeah, that was Freddy. I think it was. Hold on a second.
Yeah, it was Freddy Krueger.
This thing is. You know what? Here's Apple. You see, I got tape around it. They have the crummiest stuff.
Oh, easily.
But go to Target and buy an aftermarket. Oh God, this is not
now
working.
To bash Apple even further, Apple now builds a diode into all of their cables. And the new iPads, if you try to use an aftermarket cable on any of the iPads or iPhones, your phone will say you are using a non-Apple product and it stops charging.
Well, for whatever reason, this one ain't charging. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll put it in this. Hold on a second.
You might try turning it over.
Hold on, dude.
Or reboot.
No, I can't reboot. I have to keep it going here. Let me turn this off.
Okay.
Turn this off.
I like your carpet.
Yeah.
That's not because the ceiling.
Oh, it looked like carpet.
For whatever reason, this is. Oh, now it's charging. Okay, there we go. Oy vey. Okay, and of course, in their infinite wisdom, they put the speaker and the plug-in thing on the bottom. Isn't that great planning?
Of course.
That's wonderful marketing.
Well, that's something I wondered about. When you buy a 12-pack of sodas, the handle's on one side and the barcode's on the other. Why do you do that?
Who the hell knows? Some of these people have
Where
no
are the
idea
industrial designers of the world? They're the ones that are supposed to make that right.
They're in the bathroom. That's where they are.
I guess.
They come to these conclusions. I have to, real quickly, I was supposed to do this at the top of the show and forgot, of course. I wanted to let everybody know, and please forgive me, we'll go right back to the topic as soon as I'm done, that Joyce Jarrett, Avi Kaplan's grandmother, passed away a couple of days ago.
Who is this?
Yeah. Joyce Jarrett. Are you familiar with the a cappella group Pentatonics?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, they used to sing at Disneyland.
Yeah, they used to get their YouTube Christmas videos got sent all over the place. So if you saw one of the little drummer boy, that was them. But anyway, he's no longer with the group, but he has a following, and they follow me for various reasons because I know his aunt. So
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like them. They performed at D23 one year.
Yeah, they were superb. They were.
And they used to sing at California Adventure, where the train station used to be. California Adventure, they used to sing right there.
Yeah. So. And but Joyce has passed. She was 96. She lived a long life.
Good for her.
That's the way to do it.
If I can make it to 96, I'll be happy.
Me too. I'd be happy.
If I can make it to next year, I'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's all. Now, what are the legalities of? Do you have to get their permission every time you do the?
No. You have, if you're going to do something that is public, like a TV commercial, something in a newspaper, something that is, that leaves your hands, but that you need permission. and you got to ask. And I've always, there was a TV commercial that Kiss FM did. So it's them, not me, you know. And I told them, you better make sure that you have permission to sub. You see, you'll get sued. Oh, we don't care. We get sued all the time. I said, I care. I don't want to get. I work with them. So what I did was I called, and I said, this is what they're doing. What are they allowed? What are they not? Well, they can't say Austin Powers. They can't say Mike Myers, and they can't. I think they said they can't use the music. Well, they use the music. They said Austin Dees. They wanted people to think that me dressed up as Austin was Rick Dees, which was ridiculous. And they said not Mike Myers, Austin. So I don't know. They pushed the limit on all of them. It was a great commercial, and I got to wear the blue stripe suit. We kind of recreated the dance, the first dance in the scene in the movie, and it was for Kiss FM. What does it say? Win $1 million or something. I'm looking at it, and they made a billboard out of it too. I'll show you I got a little tiny one over here. Hold a minute. All right, win $1 million, baby. All right, here it is. Let's see if this is going to show. See? Little tiny billboard. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, we've got win $1 million. And here it is. Here's all this. What's her this? Where is she? Good Lord. That blonde girl, that's Ellen Kay. Right. And there's me with the blue suit.
Oh yeah.
And and 750 Kiss FM. This is from about 2002. And so that was that. And I did the voice too. And they were gonna have somebody else do the voice for the voiceover. I said, what do you mean? Let me do what are you, nuts? Anyway, but we did it. It was great. And then I found out after the fact that they wanted people to think it's Rick Dees. I said, sweetie, they're not going to.
It's much fun to work with, as I've heard.
He is great. Listen, he's up and down, which, tough love, which I needed.
Yeah.
Because I needed to, plenty. I needed a kick in the ass plenty. He was so good to me. He's responsible for all this publicity for me as Austin, because he got me into these gigs that this radio station was doing in front of all these people, and that led to being on the KTLA morning news. It's a long story, but
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that so KTLA morning news when it was good?
Well, I haven't watched it much recently, but Mark Krisky was and we were both clients at the same voiceover agency. In fact, we had done an audition together. And what had happened was I was at this event over the weekend. That weekend, well, if you know the iHeart Music Festival, that started out in 1987 as Endless Summer Jam at Cabrillo Beach in San Pedro. This little tiny thing. Belinda Carlisle was there, and I forget who else. This little time when it turned into Kiss and Unite, and it turned into Wango Tango, and then it just evolved into this big thing. Well, he brought me in when it was first at Dodger Stadium in 1997. Oh no, 99. This is when the second movie had come out. It had just opened the night before, and one of the guests performing was Nancy Sinatra.
Oh,
so there I am as Austin, and I'm backstage. It's outdoor, and her publicist. The bane of the industry are the showrunners and the publicists, because they're morons. All right, and I'm standing there, and they said,
"Tell us what you really think."
Hold on, you're not going out. You're not going to go out and say no. You're not going to go out there on stage. You're not. So she saw me in the wings, and she said. So I went out on stage and went and did it, and everybody roared, and and the publicists like, because they're anyway. so I said, and I'm dancing behind her while she's doing boots. The boots are, and then when it's done, I said, "Hello, Nancy, this is great." And I said to the audience, "Have you all seen my new movie at Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me? It opened last night, baby." And they're all cheering and cheering. So Monday morning, I guess it made the news that they did this. And somebody, I think it was Carlos Amesca, I think it was, said, "And Mike Myers showed up as Austin Powers." And I was at the radio station when I heard that. I said, did you guys hear that? Did you guys? It was in the promotions. Mona, did you hear? You know, and I immediately got on the phone to Vanessa Gilbert, who still is my agent. I said, "Vanessa," I told her about it. I said, "Could you put me in touch with Mark Krisky? Because he's on that show." And he did, and I spoke to him and told him what happened. He goes, "Oh, that's great, man. That's great. Oh, would you like to come down and do it on the show?" Yes. So I came down and did it on the show. And it's the Shagadelic Wedding Report, baby. And we did this whole thing. And they said, "Now, Austin, don't you have a phone number or something?" I said, "Yes, I do. But a lot of you are going to be surprised." So they put up a chyron, Richard Halpern, the fake Austin Powers, and my phone number, the voicemail. Wow! Well, all these people called, and I got all this work from. But you see, that's all because of Rick Dees.
Rick Dees.
Rick Dees. Yeah, well, listen, and he supported me when I had my little radio show on KGRB, which is an altitude of 1 foot. 3 watts of power, in West Covina in a little house, and in the backyard was an antique.
Yeah, I have been on more radio shows that are broadcast from little houses.
Yeah, this was great. This place was fabulous, and
Southern California was the home of just tons of great radio in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
KHJ, the real Don Steele, and ones I used to like were Jamie and Danny, Jamie White and Danny Bonaducci.
That was on 97.1.
The one that had Rick Dees, not Rick Dees,
Howard
Rick
Stern.
No, what's the guy that does the Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's now?
Ryan Seacrest.
Huh. Yeah.
Real? I don't know if it was on that, because I thought that was either KLOS or
because he did the morning
one. I think
he did the morning. He did the morning show on there, and then Jamie White and Danny Bonaducci did the drive time later show.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, she ended up marrying a ski instructor and moved to Colorado. She got fired because she said some things about Ryan Seacrest and Heidi Klum that they didn't like, and they had enough power, and she was gone.
I don't think of Heidi Klum as a power person.
Well, at the time, wasn't she married to some rock star at the time?
Oh, Seal, yeah.
Yeah. So she had power. So,
I needed Cliff Notes to get through Macbeth. But this crap I have lodged in my head.
Well, like Rick, I remember the fact that Rick Dees wrote Disco Duck. I mean, hey.
There's something on YouTube right now about Disco Duck. There's a show, I don't know who the person is, but he did a whole segment about Disco Duck. And he said, "It's a horrible song. It's the worst song. We should kill Rick Dees for doing it." But it has this history. I knew from Rick the most interesting thing about that song. He said to me, he says, "Richard, we had a chance to put that in Saturday Night Fever. And they told me, they said, you can either put it in the movie or put it on the album. We can't do both." And of course, it's in the movie, and there's an aerobic scene. It's playing for 2 seconds. Richard, if I had put that on the album, that was the #1 selling album of all time. If I got half a cent from every album, it was like, because no, we want to be in the movie, because nobody knew. You don't know what's going to take off
Exactly.
But that's my favorite Disco Duck story. And in fact, Rick's last day on Kiss, we were all there, and they were filming it for Channel 11 or whatever. He's playing. He's sitting there. We're all behind. I was right next to him over his right shoulder, and he played Disco Duck. That was the last thing he played. He signed off. That was it. But yeah, that's an interesting story about that song, and they do kind of go over that in this segment that they did about Disco Duck. They said something about how he took the movie, and so the agent took the movie instead of the record album, and because nobody knew,
I got you. We have a question. I thought Rick Dees didn't do all the voices. Richard is amazing. There you go, Peter.
Well, Rick did his own characters.
Right.
I thought Rick Dees. Oh, it disappeared. He did. I thought Rick Dees didn't do all the voices. Well, there were a few of us. There was me. There was Brian Whitman was another one. Greg Berg, like I said. There was Louise Violano, Rosie Taravella, Danny Lemos. There was different people that did, and not everything was an impression. A lot of them were just their own characters.
Right.
And Rick was going, "This is Will and Bud, man. It's just so funny. I think the show is. I am sick as a dog, and I won't be in today." That was Rick's character, and so yeah, everybody kind of did something but there were other impressionists that did call. We were all the cast of crazies. I was more on the fringe because the people that were really close to him, I mean, if he went off or something, it was like, I said, "Okay, bye, I'm leaving. I'm not going to stay for this. You guys got to stay. I'm not going to put up, So there was more of those people that were in his inner circle of the impressions. But I was part of that world too, and I'm very grateful.
Richard,
to him.
Have you ever seen I Know That Voice? The documentary about voiceovers?
No, I haven't. Voiceovers and impression, that's a whole other. The voiceover world is this crazy thing because it is so competitive, and it's like the same 5 people get all the big jobs.
Well, they had this one guy that does Porky Pig, and he was commenting that he would never teach anybody to do Porky Pig because that's his gig. And that the original guy taught him how to do it.
Mel Blanc taught him how to do it?
No, this was somebody else.
Mel Blanc was the original guy.
Well, this was whoever was doing it when he came into the...
Wow. Well,
yeah, Mel Blanc's very interesting. Mel Blanc and Dawes Butler. I'm sure you've heard of Dawes Butler. Sure.
Absolutely. Those guys were huge.
And there's one character they both did. And that was Barney Rubble. Because after Dawes Butler died, he was doing Barney. And they hired Mel Blanc to step in because it was like they were filming and they needed somebody to step in. So they hired him, and he did a few episodes of the Flintstones. I was going to say,
it must have been early on because Mel Blanc is Barney Rubble, that I've always thought.
It was just a little different if you listen to it. It was a little more nasal when Mel Blanc did it. But you ever hear the story of Mel when he had the car accident and how they got him out of the coma?
I know he had an accident. I do not know the details.
Yeah, he was in a coma, and his agent came in there, and he talked to him with one of the cartoon voices. And Mel answered as Bugs Bunny.
Oh my God!
And that's how they brought him out of the coma. That was
hysterical.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. But it's interesting about those characters. Take Andy Kaufman for what was Tony? Oh God, Tony is the Italian guy.
Taxi.
No, Andy Kaufman.
Tony Danza.
Tony what?
Dancer?
No, he did a character.
Oh
Named
yeah.
Tony
Tony.
something, but you know who I'm talking about. He had this
Yeah.
black wig and these dark glasses and a mustache
Yep.
and Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton. Yes.
And he go, yep, this is Tony Clifton, and let's go over the script that I'm doing. Yeah, bullshit, my line, bullshit, my line. This kind of thing. The agent also did the voice.
Yeah.
And would dress up like the character so they could be seen together. Like, oh, how do they do that? So there was like, and the people that these comedy writers that write for these celebrities, like Jay Leno, they all talk. Like, I'm one of the writers, and I write the monologue, and they all talk like him. Yeah. You have to talk like the person you're doing. I have a friend, Ken Morgan, also known as Bumpy Woods. He was on Kiss, Benny and Bumpy Saturday Night. And he had a character he made called Sammy Diamond. And we did it on Mars FM, which is 103.1 a million years ago. And Big Ron O'Brien was on it. It was after Kiss. And he sounded like, yeah, this is Sammy Diamond. That's a fake cough. I'll show you how to use a fake cough. All you do, you go like that. That's all you're doing. And you put this in front of your mouth.
Yeah. And it's a fake
So that
cough.
character was like this cigarette guy. And he talked like this. I wrote bits for that character because I could do the voice because Bumpy taught me how to do it. You can do it without the hands, like, and it's funny to do at parties, But you see, there is an example of a character that I could write for and talk like the person doing it. And so, yeah, a lot of those characters, those people have multiple people that can do the voice. And especially, like I said, with Jay Leno, one of the writers talked just like him. And so, interesting.
One of the people I worked with went to the Jay Leno show, and one of Jay Leno's people happened to notice that he looked like Jay Leno. And he was the guy that was on the show all the time, the lookalike guy.
Yeah, that's Maurice.
He worked at Northrop with me.
Maurice, what's your last name, Maurice?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Oh my God, what the hell was this guy's name? Yeah, Jay knew him and used him on the show. I think it was more. God, I don't remember that. I knew this guy, and he did Regis Philbin for the.
He did a bunch of stuff.
He did, but God, I forgot this guy's name. Isn't that awful? Anyway, I remember we did something down in El Cajon, which is near San Diego.
Oh yeah.
It was the lookalike something. It was some kind, and we were in a parade, and then we went into a theater, and all the different lookalikes would come out and do something. Well, they had these people. One guy, Jim Marlberg or whatever, it does Johnny Carson. Doesn't really look like him, but he sounds just like him. Oh yeah, this is Johnny Carson. So they had him behind the desk, and he's interviewing Jay Leno and David Letterman. Greg Shalhoub, and why I do not, hold on a second, because this is killing me. I think I've got some timers. Not all the time. I got some. Hold on a sec. I've got.
I've had that since birth.
Jay Leno lookalike. Okay, let's see if it even comes up. Thank God for Google.
Yeah. Let me while you're doing that, let me chime in here and point out to everybody that A Christmas Carol from last year, co-starring the great Mitch Ryan, who passed
last
year, as well as a lot of Dark Shadows people, if you're a Dark Shadows fan. It is available still streaming over on YouTube certainly, and probably on the host channel as well. Um, there's also going to be a the Gift to the Magi with Catherine Scott
Yeah,
and
that's today.
yes, and David Selby.
Yeah.
So
A gift to the Maggie.
yes, the Gift to the
Maggie.
Maggie.
I can't claim that joke. Melody mentioned it on the last
Yeah,
podcast.
it's the Gift to the Maggie.
I have to
And,
point out that we are
yeah, we're
just
right
on the
up at
other
the
side
apple.
of our timeout. We have to have Richard come back.
We
He's got too much good stuff to
I know
talk
he's
about.
amazing.
Well, thank you. Likewise.
And you have done wonderfully. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season.
Stay on with us for a minute after we go
Yeah, I'll
offline.
stay on with you.
Okay.
And like I said, it's making me crazy that I don't know this guy's name. Marcel.
There you go.
Marcel Forestieri.
There you
Was
go.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. I worked
Well,
with
you're
him,
not
and I
gonna
don't
remember
remember
his-
his name.
But let me tell you what Jay Leno said very quickly, because I used to do voiceovers for them, celebrity voice, because I had a friend who was a writer. I saw Jay and I said, Jay, you're not going to believe this. We did this thing over the weekend in El Cajon. It was all lookalikes. And it was Jay Leno and David Letterman being interviewed by Johnny Carson. And he says, oh, there's three people that are going to be on the same stage anytime in the future that are not going to be on the same. And he goes, was it Marcel? Was it Marcel? Yeah, it was Martha. I said, yeah, it was Marcel. So, yeah, that's the thing. So
That's
finally
amazing.
remembered the name.
Okay, well, you have a great holiday season. I already said that, didn't I?
That's all right.
That's
You
okay.
can't say
Say
that
it
enough.
twice.
All of our viewers, I hope, have a wonderful holiday season. And to all you guys who, as I, were born in this month, a happy birthday. And I'll be the only one to wish you that.
I wish it to you. Why not? Hey, I wish Melody, I wish you a happy birthday, because you shared the same birthday with my niece.
Oh, really?
They sent her home in a Christmas stocking back
Me
in
too.
78.
And being a good brother, I always give Melody a birthday present and a Christmas present.
Well,
Because
our own-
everybody else writes Merry Christmas and Happy
happy
Birthday.
birthday. Usually
No.
at the door when they remember that it's my
Right. It's either two presents or one really good thing.
Or sometimes not a very good one, but still
Yeah.
it says Happy
But
Birthday
still.
and Merry Christmas.
That's life. That's life.
All
I'm
right, we're
just-
going to get
I'm
in trouble
happy
if
to
we
be
don't exit here pretty
Yes,
quick.
we will.
They're going to yell at us.
Bless you, everybody. Have a great holiday season, and we'll
Happy
see
Christmas.
you.
Merry Christmas.
We won't
Merry
see you
happy
next
holidays.
Sunday.
Happy Kwanzaa.
I don't say Happy Holidays. I say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, winter solstice,
There you go.
whatever.
Yeah,
What-
whatever.
oh, yeah.
Whatever you're
I
celebrating,
forgot.
I hope you have a good one.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.